Hi, and welcome to the Downsized Dish. My name is Lorraine Durham, and if you haven't joined us before, we are the channel where we discuss all things GLP-1 weight loss related. I have lost over 50 pounds on compounded trizepatide, and it's my goal to talk to as many people as I can about their weight loss journeys with GLP-1 medications. Today, we have a little bit of a different downsized dish format. We'll be talking about maintenance with two of our watchers, Susie and Lori. But before we meet them, I'd ask that you please click like and subscribe if you haven't already. Oh, and please keep in mind that I am not a doctor. I'm just someone who's lost weight on a GLP-1 medication. So please consult your doctor before starting any new weight loss plan or medication. First, we have Susie. Welcome to the Downsized Dish, Susie, or welcome back to the
Oh,
Downsized
thank
Dish,
you.
I should say.
Yes. How fun is this?
Super fun. Susie, tell us about yourself.
Okay. And I always say, where do I start? No. July 3rd, 2023, I was 194 pounds and I took my first shot of 2.5 Manjaro. 1 year later, 50 pounds down, July 5th, 2024. And so now I'm in maintenance, which means I'm taking a 2.5 dose of Manjaro once a month.
Once a month. Okay.
Once a month, yes.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
during that year, I tried to, I don't know about you, but during that year, I was really trying to figure out why I overeat, like kind of everyday psychoanalyzing, and then how I'm going to do maintenance.
Yes.
That was the first year.
The big question. How are we going to do maintenance? But I've interviewed you before on the Downside Dish, so we know a little bit about you. We know you've been on 2.5, I think, the whole journey.
The whole journey.
The
Yeah.
whole journey.
Yeah.
So you just consistently lost on the 2.5?
I did. I yeah, I lost 50 pounds consistently doing 2.5 for 12 months.
Wow. So uh, I think you may have referred to yourself, Susie, as a super responder.
Yeah. Yes. If that's a thing, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
because, just for people who are just joining us or maybe just learning about these
Yeah.
medications, usually the 2.5 dose of Mounjaro Zepbound compounded tirzepatide is known as the starting dose. So it's the dose that your body is really just getting used to the medication. Some people lose weight on that dose, and some people don't. They have to go up to a higher dose. But that's great that Susie was able to stay on it for the whole year, and so now she's trying to figure out this maintenance journey.
And it is weird to see who can tolerate the 2.5 and then who has to go up because there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to that.
I there really doesn't. Some people I've heard say, "Oh, I'm very sensitive to all medications,"
Well,
and those are the people who bodies have a stronger reaction at the lower dose. I've just noticed anecdotally. Um, but everybody's different, so everybody just has to kind of figure it out for themselves as they
that's
go
the
along.
journey.
Yeah. All right, and we also have Lori joining us. Hi, Lori. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Lorraine?
Good, thank you. So, Lori, tell us a little bit about your journey.
My journey is quite different from Susie's. I've been on GLP-1s since the beginning of 2022. I started on Ozempic, branded Ozempic, at the beginning of 2022, was on it for about a year and a half and lost about, during that time, slowly lost about, I would say, 45 pounds.
Okay.
After about a year and a half, my insurance changed what they were willing to pay for, and I was switched to Saxenda, which Saxenda for me just was not very effective. I actually gained some weight on
Eee,
Saxenda, and that was not acceptable.
no.
I gained maybe like 8 pounds, something like that. And then at the beginning of this year, beginning of 2024, insurance change again.
Mm,
and I was able to get on Manjaro. So started on the starting dose of Manjaro 2.5 and slowly went up to I went to a total of 12.5 of Manjaro, and that allowed me to get to kind of where I felt like I needed to be, which was a total of 57 pounds lost.
Excellent.
Um,
Congratulations.
Started out at 212. Wow.
Yee. Yeah.
So so yes, I was at 212 at the beginning of my journey. I'm right at 155 now, and I'm kind of where I think I need to be. And I've been, like I said, I got to the highest at 12.5, and I'm starting to titrate down.
Okay.
And what I'm trying to do is determine how low can I go? What's the least amount of medication that I can um, take and still have the absence of food noise, because that's my driver. Is the food noise just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
um
Same.
so that's kind of where I am, and that's my journey, is determining where that's going to be. Right now I've only gone down to 10. This coming week for my shot, I do plan to go down to 7.5 and see,
Okay.
because I should say that also this year I started on Majoro, but then another insurance formulary change, and they weren't covering my private insurance was not covering the brand of Majoro. So
Uh-huh.
now I'm using compounded tirzepatide, which is actually a little easier to handle during maintenance because you have a vial for your dose as opposed to the shot that Susie held up.
Right.
So that I can kind of switch things up a little bit, makes it a little easier for me
You
for
can
that during.
adjust your dose
Exactly.
as you wish. Huh? Oh, talk about my maintenance, he says. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I was also going to say that we did an interview with Lori also on the Downsized Dish. It was one of the very first interviews I think that we did right after we
Yep.
started the channel.
Yep.
So if anyone out there is interested in hearing more about Lori's journey, I suggest that you can check that out. Okay. So, yeah. So, and then just talking about my journey, I lost 50 pounds on compounded tirzepatide. I was on compounded the whole time. Our insurance didn't cover any weight loss medication. So I went straight to compounded, and I've done that now since the end of September of 2023. I hit my weight loss goal of 50 pounds in July. So I've kind of been playing with my dosage since then. I went up, like Lori, I went up to as high as 12.5, and then I came down to 10. I did 10 for about 6 weeks. I came down to 7.5. I did that for about 4 weeks. I said, "Oh, this is great. I'm going to go down to 5." I went down to 5, and all of a sudden, danger, danger, Will Robinson. Like, I just got the food noise back, and so I went back up to 7.5, and that's where I currently am. And I've just been kind of bobbling around between a pound or two. Do you guys feel like you bobble around
Oh
between a
yeah.
couple pounds?
I'll
Yeah.
go like 155, then I'll go 156.2, 154.8. And, but I'm okay with that. As long
Yeah.
as I stay in this range where I still feel comfortable, it's okay.
Yeah. How about you, Susie? Same?
Yeah, but I feel like, my 50-pound weight loss was at 144. So, like this morning, I woke up and I'm 145.8. And I'm trying to stay between like 144, 146.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit of a freak out when I hit the 146. I feel like I'm just like back at it, out of control. So that's why, when I talk about maintenance is a whole other thing. It really is, because 2 pounds is nothing.
It's really so little. And I guess I compare it to when I was losing weight or before I was even on a GLP-1 medication. What was that weight that really set you off? Like for me, whenever I hit 200 pounds, it would be like, I've got to do something right now. Like that was my freak out weight. So now my freak out weight is more around the 145. I think I woke up this morning at 145 too, Susie. We went out for dinner last night with some friends, and I had a cheeseburger and a glass of wine, and you know, I was up a little bit, but kind of expected it, but then
Yeah.
I wasn't really expecting it, and then I was like, dang it, did I mess it all up? Am I
Well,
gonna have to undo all this damage? But I mean, it's the variation is small in the grand scheme of things.
and it's shocking how emotional that small variation is. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
just me,
Yeah.
No,
but
I don't
Um,
think it's just you at all, Susie. I think the three of us, I think we're all about the same age, if I had to guess.
yeah,
Um,
55.
I'm
57.
57. So we've had our whole adult lives to be freaked out about our weight,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And been had all kinds of negative emotions tied up with getting on a scale and looking at a number. And so when you finally lose some weight and you feel like you've kind of made it, had this achievement, any kind of, I guess it's sort of like backsliding, seems like a complete and utter failure.
Yeah.
And again, that's all part of this maintenance journey as well, is adjusting those thought processes so that we know that 1 pound, it's okay. Just don't let it get out of control like it has in the past. And
Yeah.
that's where these medications are that tool so that you don't freak out, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah. That's a
Well,
good point.
right now I'm on day 21, because I take my shot once a month. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of starting to freak out. I'm like, should I do it early? I'm 145.8. Should I take my shot early? What? And I'm just like, logically, I'm like, no, no, no.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I mean, you can do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
uh, if you feel, I know you. Is there a reason why you picked a month apart? How did you get to a month? I guess let's talk about that.
Well, on the other chat we did, I talked about how I started out doing about 2 weeks apart.
Yeah.
So this to me is the month is more of a maintenance thing, and also
Mhm.
I'm trying to train myself. I'm trying to train myself not to overeat. I'm trying to train myself that that 2 pound, 3 pound flux is fine. Like there's so much
Right.
going on.
Right.
So that's what I like the monthly does. And
Yeah.
also I'm paying for it out of pocket. So
Yeah. That hurts.
yeah,
That makes you think twice
yeah,
before, uncapping that pin, right?
yes.
Yeah, I definitely, understand that. Do you still track your food, Susie? You talking about training
All the
yourself to eat
time.
like
Yeah.
you still do
Now
track
I'm
your
doing
food?
like 1,500 calories.
Okay. And Susie, how tall are you? I think I know the answer to that.
5'6",
5'6". Okay.
and I'm
So
145.8. No.
yeah. And you work out a lot too, right? Tell us about your workouts.
Yeah. Um, so 3 days a week, I work out at the Nest, which is a trampoline cardio workout, and they also have weights. And then 2 days a week, I work out at Lift Tonic, where it's straight old weightlifting.
Yeah.
So I work out 5 days or 6 days a week.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Lori, how about you? Any exercise in your routine?
What I have found that my body most appreciates, and I've been through all kinds of different exercise regimens during my adult life. I've done everything from like crazy cardio, like a maniac, to lifting weights like a complete beast. And I'm super strong, which a good thing. So if there's a rumble in the neighborhood, you want me on your side. But now I have found that what my body most appreciates and what's best for me, maybe it's my age as well, are bar classes. Um, that's what really works for me. And you get because they have different types of classes. They have the traditional bar, they have ones where you have resistance training, there's even like more yoga based things,
Yeah.
but that's what really works the best for me. And I just do it like 3 days a week. I don't do anything crazy. Um, I've done that before and I ended up with a torn meniscus, and I really just don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
Um, and I've always been told you can't exercise yourself out of a bad diet. Um, about 80 what I've always read is about 80% of weight loss is in the
Food.
kitchen,
Yeah. Yeah.
but keeping it off is about exercise and maintaining muscle mass. So that's where
Interesting.
my focus is with exercise.
Yeah, that's interesting. I do some bar classes too. I got big into bar, I guess, right when COVID was at its peak because they were still open.
Mhm.
So I would do the bar classes there. And I really enjoyed not I enjoyed the slower pace of it, the more focused on the muscle groups.
Yeah,
So maybe you found that too. I still
yeah.
do some. I do some bar classes. I do some cardio classes. I have a cardio dance class. I do a step class. So I get bored and I want to mix it up all the time.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just lucky where the place where I go has a different class every morning at 9 o'clock. So I just show up at 9 o'clock and whatever they're teaching that day, I do.
There you
So
go.
I'd like to do some more weightlifting, uh, like you are, Susie. So I need to get kind of into that, but I haven't at this point. So, um,
It's fun. Lift Tonic makes it fun because I think regular weightlifting, if you just go to a gym and you walk around, and you're like, what do I do with this?
yeah,
So it's a very organized class. So I don't
yeah.
really have to think
More
about,
guided through each
yes.
each set of muscle groups. Yeah, I would really like something like that. Maybe I should move to New York City soon.
Me too. So
um,
I
yeah,
wanted to talk about, and I know no one has addressed this in terms of GLP-1s and women.
yeah,
And from where, and I think it's our age women, or maybe not, maybe it's just me, but I grew up and like drilled into me like thin is beautiful. If you're not thin, you're not pretty. And I kind of got that from my dad. And so I thought,
Hmm.
hey,
hmm,
when I lose all this weight, I'm gonna be like Farrah Fawcett. I'm gonna be the hottest thing going. But it's still me. I'm just
right.
10 pounds down. And it's kind of a weird mindset to get around where it's like, God, I should be like really Sports Illustrated hot.
Yeah,
So Susan,
I know what I know what you're talking about because I lost 50 pounds and then I've got like saggy underarm and my stomach is like saggy and my inner thighs are kind of saggy and I'm like, "What?" But hey, I thought once I lost all this weight everything would
yes,
be perfect and it's not.
I
you
know.
know it's such a it's just and we are in our 50s,
I know.
so we're not going to look like the swimsuit models or the 20 somethings.
But look at Christy Brinkley. She looks great.
Yeah, good genes there, right?
Good for you, Christy.
Yeah, good for
And
her.
well, and no shame in this, but how much work has she had done? I mean,
Yeah.
let's be
Exactly.
honest, because when you are in the public eye, like she obviously is, she's got to have some stuff done. And
Yeah,
again, no shame to that. I've had stuff done, and I'm happy to discuss that here if we want to. Um, but I think we also have to think about, again, since I mean I've been heavy pretty much my whole adult life, up and down
mhm,
a little bit, but always significantly overweight. And so, and when you're in that situation, your skin gets stretched out and it's not going to go back. It's not a rubber band. It
yeah,
stretches and it stays out. So to Lorraine's point, when you look at, you've got a saggy place on, like I have this part of my arms are kind of crepey. My inner thighs are kind of crepey. Um, and that's just the way it's going to be unless I have an arm lift or a thigh lift, which I'm really not planning to do. I could, but
yeah,
I just don't think I want to go there with it. Whereas I think someone who has been thin and fit their whole life, um, their skin hasn't been stretched out, so they're not going to have that sagging that I have.
yeah.
I don't know what you guys think about that.
But lifting weights has really tightened this up for me.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's good. I mean, the muscle can definitely fill out some of that loose skin. So
Yeah.
that's a great comment, Susie. I think, and back to the thin person versus the heavier person. So, like Lori, I've been overweight pretty much my whole adult life. Skin is. I also had 3 kids, so things aren't going to be the same. But I think it's different for a thin person who gets fat versus a fat person who has always been fat. So, you know what I mean? Like, and I think even just maybe they don't have the food noise, or maybe it's different somehow. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
What I guess I don't know what you mean by a
Mm.
thin person who gets fat versus a fat person who's all gets fatter. What do you mean?
So, like, I guess there's some people on GLP-1s who maybe haven't dealt or battled obesity, and maybe just as they got older to middle age, maybe went through menopause and gained 20, 30, 40 pounds.
Okay.
And then went on a GLP-1. To me, those people might be able to come off the GLP-1 at some point. I don't know that those people have that food noise and that, or that drive to eat and that never feeling full feeling that people with obesity that have battled it for a long time have. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I think I know what you mean now. For
Yeah.
instance, like I said, I've been heavy my whole life. I've always battled this food noise. Didn't know that other people felt that way as
Yeah.
well as thin people. Like my best friend growing up was like a skinny stick, and I never understood why she wasn't obsessed with things, but she also ate enormous amounts of food and never gained weight. So but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
That people are like, oh no, everybody's the same. Like, no, 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 everybody's not the same. Everybody's metabolism is not the same. You are not going to sell me on that.
Yeah.
um but again, I've been one of those people. I've always had this drive. On the flip side, my husband has gained weight just in the last probably 8 to 10 years.
Hmm.
And I don't think, and he's on a GLP-1 now, but I don't think that he will be one of those people that will need to stay on it long term. He just
Yeah.
needs help and assistance in losing the weight, and I think then he'll be fine. So I think,
Yeah.
speaking to your original comment, Lorraine, he might be one of those people that doesn't have to have maybe quote unquote a maintenance dosage, whereas I
Yeah.
think that I am one of those, like Susie perhaps, that will need to have some sort of maintenance.
Yeah, that's exactly my thought, because you see a lot of people out there going, "Oh, I'm just doing these GLP-1s and to learn how to eat right, and
Nah.
then I'll be fine." You
Nah.
know, and maybe for some people that is the case, but for me, I feel like I will be on some form of a GLP-1 long term, forever. Who knows? But I don't feel like I'll ever go off of it. Do you guys feel that way too, Susie?
I think so. I think if things get out of control, I mean, thank goodness it's there for
Yeah.
us. I mean, but as I was kind of alluding to, the whole year of this journey, I was trying to train myself. Like, because I think I found out that my eating comes from stress. I know when my kid over the summer was on his way off to college and I was going to lose him,
Yeah.
um, I I was like going into the kitchen, just getting little things, not like binging, but a little thing here, a little thing there. And it was almost like metaphorically like filling a void.
Yeah.
So I think also if you know where your food quote noise is coming from, maybe you
Hmm.
can deal with more. I'm not a doctor. I know
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. I feel like when on this medication, I'm not driven to snack, but I'll still wander into the kitchen just to see what's happening
What's
in the
happening.
pantry, just to see what's
Hey guys,
just sometimes I just want to have a little something, and
you
I'm not hungry. It's like maybe a bad habit that's just carried over. And I catch myself going, "What? There's nothing in this pantry that there's nothing for me in here. Like, what am I doing in here? Like, get the heck out of here." It's and I don't think that's driven by any kind of food noise. I think like you said, maybe it's just driven by stress or a bad habit. Or yeah, I had also had a daughter that went to college. Um, my baby, my tiny baby
know,
left me. But yeah, so I can definitely relate to that. to that, Susie. And Lori, I know your kids are all in college too, right?
Yes. Well, they've both graduated with their bachelor's degrees, and both of them are in graduate school now. But so yeah, we are empty nesters,
Empty nest.
and I would definitely say that I am driven by stress to eat. However, I have found because of the GLP-1s, I eat a lot less. So what before I might have gone into the pantry and gotten a something and just eat. Whereas now I might go in there and eat like two crackers, and then I'm like, okay, now that's fine.
Yeah.
On two as opposed to 20.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. Do you think the GLP-1 stops you, or do you think you are more aware of what you're eating now? If that makes sense.
I think it's a combination of the two.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's my
So
test. I got my kid those Halloween Oreos. He was home for
I
the
love
weekend,
this.
and I only had one last night, and I'm on day 21 between so I don't feel
Yeah.
like there's any Manjaro in my system right now. So I was like, good for you, Susie.
That
Yeah.
is good. That's an accomplishment.
So that's
Yeah.
what I mean when I'm trying to, like, I don't know, change my thinking, I don't know. And I feel like Manjaro is Trizepatide is helping that too.
Yeah. I feel like I can eat one, like you said, one cookie and not the whole sleeve. And be satisfied with the smaller portion. Like, and I don't know if you guys have this, but I found like sugary foods that I really liked before don't give me the same kind of high, or that kind of good
Satisfaction.
feeling from the sugar. Like, I don't, it's kind of tamped down, so I tend not to keep going as much.
Right.
Have you guys felt that at all?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And things don't have the same flavor profile for me that they did
Yeah.
previously. Things that I loved previously taste different. The taste is a different sensation. It's completely different. Um, there's one particular wine that I love, and I still love it. Don't get me wrong, but now when I drink a glass of it, I don't sit there and just go, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
It still tastes good. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but it doesn't taste as good as it used to. And I
That's
guess when you're
interesting.
trying to control yourself, that's a win for me.
Yeah. I found on the things that I liked the most before, like wine or very sugary, carby desserts, they don't taste as good. I don't want them. They don't taste. I still want them. They still taste pretty good, but not so good that I'm driven to, have a second or third glass of wine or a second or third donut, like that little
Yeah.
bit. And I think it's works on those addiction centers in your brain. So the things that I really went toward have kind of been cut off, which I guess is a good thing, right?
Well, they're testing it now for alcoholism. I just heard on NPR the
Yep.
other day.
Yep. They
Yeah.
are.
It'll be really interesting to see how they can take out, like, uh the what's the component of not wanting to eat, if they can take that out of it and keep the addictive component in the
Oh,
shot.
you mean for treating the alcoholism?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no, like, appetite suppression, but there's still the other, I don't know.
Yeah. So would you give
Yeah.
a skinny alcoholic trizepatide or semaglutide?
Right. I'm sure that's
Uh,
what they're dealing with right now.
yeah.
Or
And
is that's your satiety. So is satiety,
Main switch.
can that be
Yeah.
tied to the pleasure center, which is activated by addiction? Um,
yeah.
can they somehow separate that out, or are they one and the same? Is it satiety of saying, I don't want another, whatever your drug is, or whatever, more alcohol if you're an
Yeah.
alcoholic, or if you're addicted to some sort of painkiller and they're using it for that? Are those tied? That'll be an interesting thing to watch. as they study these drugs
Yeah.
more.
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely. Well, I mean, we're just finding GLP-1s are good for so many things. I think when people come at me with, well, what about the long term? Aren't you worried about the long term effects of being on these medications? What do you guys say, Susie? What do you say to that?
Well, I say these have been around for a long time. And yeah, that's all I say is these have been around for a long time and they're pretty time tested.
Yeah,
What do you
Lori,
think, Lori?
what do you think?
I actually had this conversation last night with a neighbor. We were
Oh,
at a football watching party. Um, and I think there's so much misinformation about these medications out there, much of it driven by social media, much of it driven by I don't know if the two of you are Make America Healthy Again, that movement where all they want to do is sell supplements and
oh,
like the fake GLP-1s, all this kind of stuff. Um, so I was talking to a neighbor and she asked me that exact question, what do you feel about the long-term safety? I gave her the exact same answer that Susie did, that these medications have been around for, I mean, GLP-1s have been around like 20 years. This
Mhm.
yeah,
is not new,
yeah.
but it's just people are just now hearing about
Hearing
it.
about it.
They've been around forever. And she was like, oh, I didn't know that. And then she says to me, well, this is a muscle wasting drug. I'm
Yeah, I've been hearing that around
like,
too.
it is
It's
not a
it's
muscle waster. I said, anytime that someone loses a significant amount of weight, part of that is going to be muscle. It's
Yes.
inevitable.
right.
And if you have someone like me that lost almost 60 pounds, some of that is going to be muscle, but during your weight loss journey, it's incumbent upon you to minimize that as much as possible by, as we were talking earlier, exercise.
Yeah,
Um, Someone who doesn't, yeah, they might end up looking like they have melted because they've lost muscle definition.
yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah, that's a whole other conversation about the misinformation about these drugs that's out there that drives me crazy. Um, and again, it's very much driven by, I think, the supplement industry because they want to sell other things.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Susie, you have thoughts on that?
Well, just how you touched on the face thing. I realized that I could keep going on Manjaro and keep losing weight. Like I could get down to 130. I think we all could if we just kept taking it and
Probably.
going and going. And I think that's something that people are going to have to grapple with maybe in a year or two is that people are
Yeah.
just getting so thin. So I stopped at 144 because my face was falling.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. My
that's
cheeks kind of sunk in a little bit.
like if I still had my same face that I had at 194, I'd look great.
My mother would always say a little bit of fat plumps out the wrinkles.
Yeah.
And it's 100%, it's absolutely 100% right. And yeah, I had started noticing like this stuff a few years ago and had before my weight loss and had a consultation for a facelift
Oh,
and with a doc with obviously a plastic surgeon, and he wanted to do the whole enchilada facelift, neck lift, lipo here, brow lift, all this stuff. And I'm like, and at that time, because of my weight, I thought, I don't want to do this because, at that point I wasn't on a GLP-1, had never even heard of them. And I said, I don't want to do this and then lose weight and then have to do it again. So I had a facelift last year.
oh, wow. Good for you.
A full facelift?
What I had done was lower facelift is this. I had lipo in here and I had a neck lift.
Wow.
Um, so not painful, highly recommend it. Had it on Monday and on Thursday I was at my daughter's house for Thanksgiving, went to a Clemson game on Saturday.
Oh my
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So I had that done because my face, it was kind of, I felt like it was sliding off my face.
Yeah.
Now that I look, I still wish I were a little tighter right here, but I'm like, whatever. It's so much better than it was. I don't have a turkey neck anymore. I don't have my father's jowls anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went for it. I did it and I would do it again.
That's awesome. Susie, have you had any cosmetic procedures?
Well, I went to go see Dr. Gerald Ember, who's like a major plastic surgeon to the stars here on the Upper East Side of New York City. And I had heard about the Nefertiti neck lift, which is just they just put Botox strategically in your neck to tighten it up. That's all. It's like I don't. It's a weird name. So I went there, and he launches into, well, you could get this sucked out, and then I could do. And I'm like, no. I said, first of all, we have to pay for our kids' college. So see you in 4 years. But
Yeah.
I was like, I just really want to try it. Really want to try it. And so he goes, if you want to know what your face is going to look like, look at your mom. Like that is what your face. He said it's all genetic, mostly genetic, I guess, unless you smoke your whole life and thing.
Yeah.
But so he did it, the Nefertiti, and then he did. I got this V, being very angry, sleeping during the pandemic. So I have this V, and so he did my V, and he made me a little Spock like, but I'm really happy with this, like really happy, and it's an inexpensive thing. If you're worried about your neck, if you don't want to do the full meal deal that Lori did yet, I highly recommend it.
Interesting. I haven't heard of the neck Botox.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it works, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I guess you have to go to a good plastic surgeon who knows where to put it. But
Yeah.
I feel better about it. I feel better wearing low things. And yeah.
Well, that's really what it's about, right? Is self-confidence and feeling good and feeling like you like what you look like. I went to a dermatologist a couple weeks ago and said, I'm getting these forehead lines. And she's like, yeah, Botox, we can do it. You got to do it every 3 months, every 3-4 months. And I was like, yeah, sign me up. And I did. I have an appointment for November. And then, coming back and thinking about it, I'm like, can I afford another on top of my monthly GLP-1 payments and my children in college? Do I really want to start another monthly thing? So I don't know if I'm gonna go through with it, but I really would like to at some point, I think.
I find that you don't really have to go every 3 months for
No,
Botox.
you're right.
And it's everyone's body metabolizes the toxins differently.
Mhm.
I usually can get 4.5 to 5 months out of
Mhm.
a treatment. What I normally, and I just went a week, not last week, but week before, and I had my forehead, because I have this really, I like right in here that I get the like a number one. So I'm like, I'm number
11s,
one.
yeah.
That some people get 11s, I get a
Yeah.
one. So I have this injected, my forehead. I do the crow's feet, and I still do the neck Botox because
Oh.
my plastic surgeon said that the way that my lower face moves, I put a
Mhm.
lot of stress on this area. And because of that, I need to continue Botox in the neck to keep from stretching this out again.
Or you can
So
just quit talking.
yeah, I
Or
need
you
to
can
just
like
shut
never
up.
talk again.
I just need to shut up. That's never going to happen. I can promise you that. So I had, and they injected into these latissimus muscles here and in the side here, depending on how, because they'll have you do this funny, like, to see
Yes.
how did they
See.
do that to you, Susie?
Yeah. That
This
was
so they
gross.
know where to inject. So I had that done as
So
well.
fast.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
While we're on the subject of like hair and skin, let's talk about hair. Did you guys have any hair loss, and how is
Oh
that
yeah.
leveled out or not? Susie, did you have any hair loss?
Yeah. Look how short my hair is now. So I had so much hair loss. So I just went to another. I'm like, I'm gonna go the best. So I went to the celebrity hairdresser who does Michelle Williams' hair. Cute,
Wow.
because I wanted like a feminine shortcut. I didn't want to come
Yeah.
out looking like a boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really grappling with the hair loss. What about you, Lori? Your hair looks amazing.
Well, okay, you have to realize I've been on these medications a lot longer than the two of you.
Yeah.
So I would say the first year that I was on Ozempic, I lost my hair. I have a lot of hair to begin with, so that's going for me. But you can see like this in here. Look how this is a lot shorter
Yeah.
than this down here. My hairdresser does not cut this.
Yeah.
This is what fell out and is just now growing back.
That mine does that too.
Yeah. So this is like this, and it's other, I mean, so yes, I lost a significant amount of hair. And I did talk to my hairstylist about this, and he said,
Mhm.
anytime you lose weight, a significant amount of weight, whatever, however you do it,
Yeah.
you're going to lose hair. So it's
Mm.
not, it's, which came first, the chicken or the egg? It's not
Yeah.
necessarily the GLP-1, it's the weight loss.
The weight loss triggers the hair loss.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
when I talk about like wanting to, like, I'm gonna come out of this looking so hot with long hair, and now I have this like short pixie cut. It's just
Cute though. I mean, it's very cute.
But
yeah.
you've got this short, chic, super sexy pixie cut. So it's on the way you spin it, girl.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so talking about hair loss, I feel like right in the middle of my weight loss is where my hair like started kind of falling out. Like I would brush it and get a lot, and I, like Lori, have a good amount of hair, but I really feel like a lot came out, and now I feel like it doesn't grow as fast. Now I also hit menopause like month 3 into my journey. I think that's another whole conversation, but I think it cleared out whatever was causing me not to be in menopause at age 54, and I hit menopause. So I don't know if the hair is related to the Manjaro, the tirzepatide, or the whole menopause thing. So I maybe got a double whammy there. Lucky me.
Maybe. But
Yeah.
both your hair looks great. Like
Oh.
you don't have pixie cuts.
I've never been able to pull off the short haircut. Like
I just look like a boy. I look like a man when I have short hair. I cannot have short hair. It's ridiculous. My face is too wide down here to have it. I end up like, I look like a
Yeah.
big old pumpkin head.
I've always tried to like hide behind my hair. Like in the 80s, I had like
No.
the massive,
Yes.
the massive hair.
Yeah, now no face. You just see me. Here's Susie's face. Here she comes.
Oh, yeah. No.
I'm kidding.
But I guess getting back to the maintenance conversation, like, is there anything that you do now in maintenance, maybe with your hair or your skin, that you didn't do before?
Well, with my skin, I do a lot of vitamin C oil. I like it. At night, I put it on my neck.
Yeah. Yeah. Lori, anything for you?
I find I've always been a big skincare person.
Mhm.
My mother started me on skincare when I was literally a child. She was always into skincare. And I believe consistency is the key. You don't need to spend a gazillion dollars on La Mer. You don't need to spend a gazillion dollars on anything, but you need to be consistent in whatever it is you do. Um, and I find simpler is better. I do use a vitamin C serum in the morning, and then I use sunscreen. In at night, I do use a hyaluronic acid serum, and again a good moisturizer. And I wear, like I said, sunscreen. I need to get back to Retin-A/tretinoin. I know that is the key. It's difficult for me to use in the summertime because of being in the sun. But that's something I'm going to add back is tretinoin, because that's, evidence-based skincare,
Yeah.
but consistency.
When I went to the dermatologist a couple weeks ago, she gave me a prescription for the tretinoin, and I've
Mhm.
been I've been like, is it working yet? Is it working yet? And I guess it takes some time. And I'm like, oh yeah, Retin-A. I used this when I was a teenager and had horrible acne. So here we are. Here
Full
we are
circle.
once again, full circle once again. I think sunscreen is very important, and both of you, I think, mentioned sunscreen, so I think that's key.
Yeah.
What are some other daily eating maintenance? What are some of the things that you eat, I guess, on a daily basis that are for your maintenance routine? Do you have like a routine of things you eat, Lori?
So,
Oh, so-
I don't have a specific routine. I just try to be mindful of what I eat.
Mhm.
I'm very careful about what I buy at the grocery store. I try to stay on the outside edges of the grocery store as opposed and only go into the aisles when there's something specific that I need to buy. Like if I'm going in to buy a specific like rice, quinoa,
Yeah.
boulgur, or whatever, but stay on the outside edges of the grocery store so that what we do have at home is um, more nutritious food. Try not to call it healthy food. I try to talk about nutritious food and retrain my brain in that.
I
Um,
like that.
we eat a lot of green vegetables and a lot of vegetables in general, and less. I try to stay away from simple carbohydrates. If we have rice, I make sure it's brown rice. If we have pasta, I make sure it's a pasta. I like the Barilla Plus pasta because it has more fiber in it. So I just try to focus on those kinds of changes that are more nutritious.
Interesting. How about you, Susie?
So last we talked, I told you how my go-to breakfast was an everything bagel with butter and 2 eggs, and I only ate half the bagel. Then I thought that was perfect. Like some carbs, some fat, some protein, bang, bang, boom. Well, then I get my A1C back, and it's 5.5.
Ooh.
And I'm blaming the bagel because I have it at least 5 days a week. So I've cut out the bagel.
Okay.
I'm only doing the eggs now.
Okay.
Caution.
So your thought is maybe the carbs were
Yeah,
bad for
yeah.
you personally?
That was really the only thing that I consistently did.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, that's got to be it. I mean, I'm having this bagel 5 days a week with the eggs. So
Have you
Yeah.
had your A1C checked again since you've cut out the bagel?
no, because I have to wait 3 months.
Okay.
You have to do
Okay.
3 months.
That'll be interesting to see
I
what your
know.
numbers that it was that high and you're on a GLP-1.
I know. Monthly.
That's yeah. Well, you
Hmm.
might need to bump it up because of your A1C.
Well, but my A1C's never been high. And
Okay.
that's like the factor that I think I could pinpoint to being
Yeah.
different from the rest of everything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If that makes any
So,
sense.
so what's a high A1C? Is it 5, 7?
I think it's 5.
Let's see. I'll Google
Yeah.
that while we're talking.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
I've never looked at mine. I guess it's never been
Yeah,
an issue. So, but I mean, and
mine's
I'm
always like 5.2, 5.3. It's never been 5.5.
Okay, so A1C target levels, normal is anything less or equal to 5.6. So you're getting close there with a
Yeah.
5.5.
on the
Yeah.
edge. Yeah.
Pre-diabetes is considered 5.7 to 6.4,
Hmm.
and diabetes is anything 6.5 plus. So
Oh,
again, I'm not a doctor, but
yeah.
this is just from Dr. Google.
Yeah.
I'm usually my A1C has always been low. It's in the low fours. So
Oh, wow.
but that's even before I was on a GLP-1.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 That's interesting.
Yeah. That is interesting, Susie, that yours went up just that little bit and still on the Manjaro.
I'm
So,
telling you, it's the bagel.
well, you know what?
I'm blaming it on the bagel.
You'll have to report back. What's your next?
I think bagels are the worst kind of carbs from what I've
That's
been
white
reading.
bread.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No
so
fiber.
I really miss you, bagel.
And
Do
I
you guys
love
ever?
everything bagels. They're so good.
I know.
I
Do you guys
know.
ever do the special breads or the keto bread or the
Wow.
low
I do this
carb?
keto bread.
Do you?
So when I make a sandwich, it's um, Nature's Own keto bread, and so that's how I make a sandwich. And it's only one. I think it's uh, 1 gram of carbs per slice of bread, and it's not
Wow.
bad. But you just toast. I toast my bread, make a sandwich. If I make a sandwich, that's what I
Yeah.
make.
Yeah.
If I don't
Toasted,
have
I
a
think
salad or
probably helps.
something.
Yeah. Toasting definitely Definitely helps. I don't know. I just haven't ever been able to find one of those that I like. I like the Dave's Killer Bread, which I guess is
Oh yeah, that's
better,
so
but
good.
still carbs. But
Yeah.
I'll get
Try
that
the
sometimes.
try the Nature's Own. Again, I'm not do not have any kind of affiliation with Nature's
Right.
Own, but it's a larger slice of bread. And if you get the honey wheat as opposed to the white, it just tastes like a normal slice of bread, but toasted.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll have to check that out. We'll have
Then
Thanks,
to
you
check.
can
Lori.
make your breakfast sandwich, Susie. You could have that.
Maybe
Yeah.
once a week.
And then
Yeah.
and you well, and you can sprinkle on the everything but the bagel seasoning.
Yeah, from Trader Joe's.
Yes, so
Yeah.
good.
I
And they also
love.
have it at Costco in a
Oh,
big bottle shaker.
Yeah. Awesome. Let's talk about maintenance side effects. Did you guys have any side effects that disappeared in maintenance or went away? Any anything like that?
I've never had any side effects with these GLP-1s other than
Never.
a little bit of constipation, which I was able to manage. So
Mhm.
that has not been an issue for me, thankfully. And every time I talk to my doctor, she always asks me, "Oh, what about your side effects?" Like, there are no side effects. I keep telling you, I'm fine. So
Yeah. Interesting. Susie, did you ever have any side effects?
it's that day 2 exhaustion
Uh,
um, that has always hit me. But other than that, no, not really.
do you still get the day 2 even on the 28th day? Really?
And it's a little worse too because I think my body's like, wait, ho, hey, what's this? Like,
We
this
just
is
flushed
new.
all that out and now you're putting it back in. Yeah. 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 I'd really like to get to a 2-week apart dose or a monthly dose. I think probably after the first of the year, I'm going to play around more with that. Uh, just thinking about the holidays coming up and what do I what do
Yeah.
I do? What are we going to do about the holidays, girls?
Yes. No one knows about maintenance. Like, where's our handbook?
mhm.
Where's
Yeah.
the holiday chapter in the
Yeah.
maintenance handbook?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, am I gonna? Well, so I'm on 7.5 now. I've got a colonoscopy coming up, so I'm going to be off the medication for 2 weeks, and then I'm going to go back on, and then it's going to be Thanksgiving. So I don't want to drop my dose for I don't want to
Yeah.
push my limits on the biggest eating day of the year.
Yeah.
And then, coming into Christmas, I feel like, I'm just around food so much more, so much more. I can only say no so many times to food. And on that 12th, how about this? I'm going to say, okay. So I feel like I need the GLP-1 help, I guess, through the holidays. But beyond that, I feel like I could play around a little bit. Do you guys have any kind of holiday thoughts? Holiday game plan?
I think what you were just saying, Lorraine, is a really mindful way to think about it. That the GLP-1, you need it because it's this is a tool.
Yeah.
And if you know that you're going to be under stressful circumstances, like Susie, you were saying, that stress is a driver for you. Let's say we know we have something big at work coming up, then don't reduce your dose. Maybe stay at a dose that is supporting you and giving you that tool. Or if we know that we're going into a time of the year like the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, where we're going to be eating more, maybe that's not the time to reduce a dose. Maybe that's the time to maintain so that you can allow this tool to give us the support that we need.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
I grapple with myself. I'm like, well, why do I need the tool? Like, why can't I just get it together?
Susie! Susie! Because we have the disease of obese. It's
Yeah.
a disease, right? Right, Susie?
If you had hypertension and you took an antihypertensive medication to bring your blood pressure down, would you then say to yourself, I need to go off of this blood pressure medicine because
Yeah.
my blood pressure is right now, is correct now. Why can't I just get it together
Yeah.
so that my blood pressure stays down?
No, I totally get that. I'm just giving you like a little insight into the mind of me.
Yeah, no. I mean, I
Well,
think
it,
I
I
think for
totally
years,
agree.
yeah, I think for years we've put it on ourselves. We've been told Why can't you just diet and
Together.
exercise?
Yeah.
Why can't you keep your hand out of the cookie jar? Why can't you keep yourself out of the McDonald's drive-through? Like, it's always been a moral problem or a
Yeah.
problem of willpower or just a failing that we have, when now we know it's our brain and our gut are missing these peptides,
Right.
and now we're taking them, and our gut now can talk to our brain and say, "Oh, you're full, stop eating." And you know, it I think it's really easy, Susie, to say, "Oh, yeah, maybe, yeah, I'll try it. Maybe I don't need it anymore. Maybe I've learned." And I think, it'll be an interesting experiment to see, especially as I space out my dose, how far I can push that. Like 28 days, that sounds like a long time for me. Like, I'd be I think I'd be scared. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. So I really applaud you for going those 28 days and kind of just seeing how you feel, you
But
know?
it's been a fluctuation of literally like 2 to 3 pounds.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, which is
Which
crazy.
is what I think we all have on maintenance any day of the week anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah. Lori,
Okay.
have you spaced out your dose at all, Lori?
Instead of doing every 7 days, I usually do every 9 days at this point.
Nice.
And again,
Oh,
I'm just playing with it. We are the guinea pigs,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
We're like the new frontier of what's next
Yeah.
after the weight loss. Um, I've never, I've never in my life lost this amount of weight and kept it off for this amount of time.
Yeah.
And I know one of the things that we had thought we might touch on was, when do you get rid of your fat clothes? You know, and
Yeah.
I did that. I've already done it. I got rid of them because I said I'm not going back. And if it means I stay on one of these drugs for the rest of my life, I'm I'm willing to do that. Because if you look around, the people who are 90 and 95 years old, they're not fat. They're not big. There aren't a lot of old fat people. And
They don't live
I,
that long.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, we don't live as long if we're
Yeah.
significantly overweight.
Yeah.
Um, and I want to be around for my children and grandchildren as long as I possibly can,
Yeah.
and have a health span as long as it can be. Health span is different than lifespan. Um, so if I need to stay on this medication for the rest of my life, I will, because
Yeah.
I'm willing to do that for my family and my children and grandchildren.
That's nicely put, and it puts it a different, on health, which I tend to forget about the health piece. I tend to just focus on what size I am or what, and so it's always good to remember that, yeah, we're doing this for our health, we're doing this for our children, we're doing this to live longer. People ask Christopher, "Aren't you worried about the side effects?" He said, "Well, I was worried about dying from obesity. That's a side effect of obesity."
Mm-hmm.
So, it
100%.
kind of just something else to to think about
Yeah,
for
because
sure.
when I was heavier, I was one of the I was kind of a purple squirrel in that I was a healthy fat person. There
Yeah.
was nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
yeah.
Nothing. I was in menopause, so I was taking a hormone replacement. I do have hypothyroidism, so I was taking thyroid. But that's really it. There
Yeah.
was nothing. I mean, my diabetes numbers, A1C, all of that, great. I have no family history of hypertension, diabetes, anything on either side of my family tree.
Huh.
So I didn't have any of those problems, but what I was experiencing, my LDL was starting to go up. So I was concerned about that. And I was experiencing problems with my joints, like mobility.
Yeah.
My back was starting to hurt. And I'm like, I'm too young to not be able to run around and do whatever I want to do. So,
Yeah. Yeah, same. I was always a very healthy fat person. Never had high blood pressure, high cholesterol. I don't even know. I never even knew what A1C was until recently. Like,
Yeah.
it just never it was never something I had to think about. And I think back to the Oprah special that was on back in March, and someone else was talking about that. Yeah, they were always a very healthy fat person, and they said, well, you can be a very healthy young fat person, but it's going to catch up with you as you age. At some point, that excess weight is going to start causing you a lot of problems with your joints, with your back, with, my cholesterol had kind of been inching up there too. So, it's it's true. I mean, I think the benefits of these GLP-1s just way outweigh not being on them.
Yeah.
So my motto these days is I'm training for 80. And you can say, "Oh God, I'm middle aged," but I'm like, no, I'm glad I'm middle aged and I'm training for 80. And my VO2 max is the best it's ever been. It's like at the top of the charts. I said before, I'm the oldest person in every class I go to, which is great. You want to be able to, not being funny, you want to be able to fall and get up.
Yeah.
Oh,
As a
yeah.
person, if you fall, you want to be able to get up and keep it moving. You want to be
And
able
not
to
break a
walk,
hip.
yeah, walk at a swift pace. You don't. We live on a fifth floor walk up in New York City. You don't want to be out of breath. So many people that come here, they come up, they're like, "Whoo!" I'm like, "What?" Like, you want your lung capacity and your heart to be amazing and in peak shape.
Fifth floor walk up. Wow.
And you do
I,
that with groceries?
Yeah,
Wow.
I love it.
Dragging groceries.
I go
Okay.
to I do grocery shopping probably every day. So I love it. It's walkable. We're in the West Village. It's darling. It's quaint. I love it. It's a great way to live.
yeah, that sounds fabulous. I would love that personally. I don't know about fifth floor walk up, but
I
you
don't mind.
definitely get it moving
Yeah.
every time you leave or come home, for sure. For sure. Thinking about our long-term maintenance journeys, do you guys is there anything you are like wanting to try out or test out or wondering about? I mean, just any thoughts in general on that long-term maintenance? I know
I'm
it's a
just
weird
trying
question.
I'm just trying to determine, as I mentioned before, um, slowly moving down in dose and kind of listening to my body, listening to the feedback I'm getting from my brain of how low can I go, and still be effective and still have a tool that prevents me from gaining my weight back. And
Yeah.
that's a journey that's just taking some time. And Lorraine, as you mentioned, maybe shouldn't reduce too much over the next couple of months since we're already in October. That was a point well taken with respect to the holidays and the lure of all those yummy treats and food that are going to be out there. So it's a journey that and again, we're the guinea pigs.
Yeah. Yeah. Susie, any final thoughts there?
I've been thinking about microdosing, maybe doing half of the 2.5, maybe every few weeks. Because they're also, and you don't have to touch on it today, but for me, there's like a happiness factor. I don't know. I feel more in control after I take my shot. I'm like,
Definitely.
it's
Yeah.
such a relief of like, whew, okay, now I'm really in control.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
I'd like to explore microdosing.
So how will you do that with the pen
Pound it.
dosing? Compounded.
Okay.
You have thought about the compounded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the compounded is and I've heard people doing, two shots a week, like a shot on Sunday and a shot on Wednesday, like dividing their dose in half over the span of a couple days. And I know that has worked for a lot of people, so that might be something to think about. And Lori, with your 9-day, like
Yes.
you're on a different day of the week
Yeah.
every week.
I have to mark it off on my calendar. So
Yeah, I mean, is that hard to keep up with? Or how has that been for you?
no, not really. I
Yeah,
I use Outlook and I put it on my Outlook so I'll know it's a pop up,
yeah.
a reminder shot.
Interesting. Yeah, I
So
would probably, forget, honestly.
if
Uh,
I didn't, okay, if I don't write something down, it's gone
yeah.
because I'm a woman of a certain age.
Yeah.
So that's why I have to put it on my Outlook calendar so that I'll
Yeah.
know, okay, because next week it'll be Friday. This coming, I'll have to do Friday because this past week it was Wednesday. So yeah.
Yeah. Susie, do you ever adjust your shot day based on things going on in your world?
I do it about once a month, but I always do it on a Saturday. I work out at 10:30. I do my shot afterwards, and then I take a nap. And then Sunday's my rest day.
Ah,
So,
yeah.
and that's usually the first day when I'm really exhausted. And then I feel like Monday, I'm ready to go.
You're ready to go. Yeah, so you've worked that side effect, that exhaustion
To
into
my,
your life, so you're prepared for it and you can deal
yeah,
with it. And Lori with no side effects is
I know.
it doesn't matter.
Lori,
Yeah. I'd say I got really tired, I guess, at first, and I don't really, I guess, feel that now. I do still, have to keep on top of the constipation with the fiber gummies and the all that. So I'm still going strong with that. But yeah, other than that,
Okay,
okay.
I have a PSA for other YouTubers
Yeah.
that do GLP-1 talk. Nothing bothers me more than when they don't say, and you guys are so good at this. You start off saying the weight you've lost this week.
Yes.
Some of these GLP-1 YouTubers, they're like, I'm 90 pounds down. And I'm like, well, what did you lose any this week? That's why we're watching. So
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I think I almost quit saying the whole like starting weight, current weight, go because I'm
oh,
like, oh, are
okay,
people going to
no,
get bored with this? But
no,
I always want to know, well, how tall are you? How
yes.
much were you when you started? How much are you now? How much did you lose? Did you lose? Did you gain? Like, that's the main things I always want to know. So I always put that at the very beginning.
No, it's really appreciated because I think it gives us a point of reference. Like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
she's lost this much in this amount of time. Like,
Yeah.
there's one YouTuber who will remain unnamed, and she was like, I'm stalled at something like 89 pounds. And then I guess she was getting like comments, and the next week she's like, I've lost 90. I'm like, have you really? Have you really? And then she didn't say what she started at, what she is now. So the
Yeah,
updates, we like the updates.
yeah. Oh, good. I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, I've just been very transparent, and I've just, I keep everything on a spreadsheet. So if I forget, I just pull it back out and look at it because I don't want to say we did have a viewer who noticed we said something different like than what we had before, and they
Oh,
called us out on it. And I was
wow.
like, oh wow, people are really listening to these weights. So yeah, I'm just very honest in all of my journey because that's the way I am, I guess.
Oh, we appreciate it out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All good. All good. Well, thank you. Well, thanks, ladies, for being on the Downsized Dish today, struggling with maintenance, trying to figure this out. Maybe we should do like a follow up again, maybe a couple months from now, and see where we've landed maybe after the holidays.
Sure.
uh, so, yeah. Well, thanks you guys for watching out there. If you'd like to be on the Downsized Dish, you can send me an email. I've got a new email address. It's Lorraine@thedownsized.org. That's LARAINE at thedownsized.org. And I'll send you a link to our calendar. You can sign up for a time. Super easy, super fun, hopefully. So, and if you've liked this video, I hope that you will hit like and subscribe to our channel here at The Downsized. And that's it for today. Oh, and don't forget to check out our live show. This week it's going to be on Friday at 7 p.m. We'll be live on YouTube where we take questions from our viewers and just kind of hang out for about an hour, just talking to people about GLP-1 medications. So again, thanks for watching. I'm Lorraine Durham for The Downsized. Thank you. Thanks, y'all.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.